I'm a pretty weird kid as I've experienced both public school and homeschool. At the moment, I'm actually being homeschooled. Being homeschooled means I get a lot more freedom, including the freedom of saying whatever I want as long as it's not super inappropriate and as long as there are no guests around. Clearly, I didn't get this freedom in public school. I remember this one time back in 8th grade, I had this extra strict English teacher named, let's say, Mrs. Frickers, because why not? Miss Frickers had this whole thing against both curse words and replacement words, saying that people who curse or use replacement words are complete idiots and have a smaller vocabulary and should therefore be frowned upon, which is untrue because according to ScienceAlert.com, swearing is a sign of intelligence and a larger vocabulary. But this rule came into play one day when my class and I were in the computer library working on an essay. Well, I messed up pretty badly and said on impulse, fridging. Fridging was one of my many wacky words I would say whenever I messed up something. Not as a replacement word, but just as a word, which apparently was banned in this particular class. In reply to my wacky word, Mrs. Frickers said very loudly, "What did you just say?" To which I repeated just as loudly, "Fridging." "You know you're not allowed to say that." "Yes, I know, and I'm sorry." Luckily for me, I didn't get sent to the counselor's office. But another example, just so you know it's not me. Moonbeam has a funky story to tell.
Hello. For me, it was memes. Now, I had a great knowledge of these sorts of things. My gold teacher, who we are going to dub Miss Bob, had a weird grudge against memes because of my class. We were a rowdy bunch, and most of us were considered meme lords, and during free time when we could talk about whatever we want, we would naturally talk of memes. Eventually, she got annoyed of this, and whenever we would talk of certain repeated memes, for example, Sprite Cranberry, she would add it to the banned words list. Whenever we would use any of the words on said list, we would get 5 whole minutes of detention for each word we said. The longest detention I could recall was when a classmate of mine said 4 banned words and got 20 minutes of detention. One thing we could do to avoid the banned words is switch around the letters. For example, Sprite Cranberry would be Crite Spranberry. And eventually she got done with our shenanigans and didn't add the replacements to the list. We're encouraged to use memes in our house, and in fact, we make a lot. So if you want to see those, our Facebook link is in the description. Now, back to StarSailor with another story.
Another thing is this one time I was pulled into the principal's office for some rather violent-sounding emails. I swear I wasn't planning violence against real people, but fictional characters of a book series my friend and I were reading at the time. The assistant principal was the one who was talking to me along with the school counselor being there, and she pulled the emails up on a TV screen, read them all out loud to me without letting me interject or interrupt. The funny thing about this is that it was very clear that we were talking about a fictional series within the emails. Hearing her read out these emails made me feel relieved, and I explained how it was all just a fictional series and these are fictional characters. They were still confused and pointed out how I still shouldn't have been so violent, to which I explained the context of the moments and why that provoked these emotions. Eventually, everything simmered down and they understood and let me go without punishment. With homeschooling, they actually let us take a couple of public school classes, and they have a whole app to monitor emails, grades, and such, and alert the parents. So it's always funny whenever our dad gets an email about one of us going on about how we're going to fight a fictional character, and he just says, "Oh no," and would show us the emails and laugh with us. I understand that there's a lot of worry about violent tendencies in students, and they don't want us to be a part of this. But I really don't think they should be helicopter parenting everyone and take away a lot of the ways that we express ourselves. This is another reason why I prefer homeschooling over public school. I can express myself more, and it really helps me with my art as I don't have too many barriers of what I can and can't draw, write, or even read. If you guys have any funny school stories like this, we would love to hear them in the comments. Thanks for watching, Starbeams. While writing this, I did some research, and it turns out that fridging is an actual word. and it is the practice of killing off or torturing a minor character in order to motivate or torture the main character. This term actually comes from American comics, so I doubt that Mrs. Frickers knew about this word.